I still remember the excitement and enthusiasm among my students when I was teaching science in the middle school. Especially my 6th grade students, who just graduated from elementary school, were expecting to do serious hands-on science experiments, like blowing things up, burning stuff, and dissecting animals. Some of them were never been to a science lab before. Towards the end of first semester, when the time came to announce that each student was required to do a science fair project, I could see some of my students were puzzled, challenged by the length of the project and the amount of time that needs to be dedicated. I have a daughter in 5th grade. She also was required to do a science fair project last year. The things I experienced once as a teacher now I come across with as a parent. Frustration, challenges, and the questions like, "Daddy, why do we have to do a science fair project?" My answer to that was, hey, it could be really fun. But another question was more interesting and required a longer answer. Why are we doing the same thing that other students have done before? We know the answer to them already. I could easily say, what if the others have done it wrong? But there was more to it. One of the reasons science teachers require their students to do a science fair project is that they want their students to learn about scientific method and to practice it through doing an actual project. By following the scientific method, students will get used to think like a real scientist, work like one of them, and reach conclusions as the real scientist would do. It is like having the students walk in the footprints of the real-world scientists. Eventually, they may become one after they graduate from college. So what is this scientific method? I explained to my daughter. Every work starts with a question that needs an answer. Like the one you asked when we were driving to your school the other day. Does weather have anything to do with how my hair looks? That was an excellent research question for your science fair project. Once you have a question, you make a prediction that you can test. This is called a hypothesis. As a third step, you perform the experiment to test if the hypothesis is right or wrong. To be able to do that, you will need to list the steps of your experiment, which is called the procedure, and also to list the materials you'll need for the experiment. Your fourth step would be observation. Observe while you experiment and record your findings. Fifth step is to analyze the findings or data you recorded. Lastly, draw a conclusion if your hypothesis came out to be true or not. Some experiments may lead to no conclusion though, or may lead to other questions, but it is totally fine. So if you summarize, the steps of scientific method are: ask question, form a testable hypothesis, experiment, observe, analyze, and make conclusion. Learning how real scientists work made sense to my daughter. It may make sense to others as well. So focus not on finding the same results over and over again, but focus on how real scientists would solve that particular problem. Employ scientific methods so that your conclusion becomes credible.